Victor here, and welcome back to another Path of Exile video. Today I'm going to be talking about the build that I have been playing for the past couple of days. I spent some currency trying to put this together, but basically I wanted to play Winter. I really enjoy the way the skill looks, and in general the feeling of the skill. I like it. And this gem in particular, Winter of Transience, got buffed quite significantly. I think the previous effectiveness was 60%. Let's check out the wiki. So if we look at the change page, it used to be, yes, effectiveness, it was 100, now it's 120. The cast time got buffed a little bit, although it doesn't matter for us, and it got a little bit less mana cost as well. In general, I think it performed quite well for the gear that my character has, disregarding the mage blood, of course. But you know, I have it. I'm gonna use it in every single thing I play. But I think without it, it can be quite competitive still. I think this is something that if you like the skill, you wouldn't feel too bad for playing it. And if you decide to take this character further, you can definitely achieve very decent results, I think. I took, well, as you may have seen, the over Ether and over Vortex. It isn't the most damage, but you know, this skill is very difficult to calculate how much DPS you're actually doing, and there is a case to be made for the regular Eye of Winter to be better on single target with investment into slower projectiles from things like adjacent animosity and the less projectiles mastery. That may be the play if you would like to go heavy on bossing for this build. But let's go over the gear. So this one, it's pretty decent, I like to say. So this one, I already had the +1 cold spells in my stash, so I did an essence craft until I hit the level 1 added tier 1 added cold damage to spells. Then sub prefixes cannot be changed into reforged crit. Either you hit crit chance or you hit crit multi. Either one is pretty good. Then just an exile slam. Ideally you have both crit chance and crit multi, and then you craft mind throw speed for the best results. But in general, what you want here is to get the local crit chance as high as possible with the Harvest Grasp as well, to use the Sandstorm Visage. So this one says that it sets the base critical strike chance of your spells equal to your main hand weapon, which the regular crit chance of the spell is 6%. We're more than almost doubling the crit chance of the spell with this craft. And what it does is that basically, with, you know, mines already have an easier time capping crit than most builds. So this basically means that we have basically 100% of crit. Now, the whole idea of playing Eye of Winter came because of the mod on these gloves. That this is an infamous glove, or infamous modifier from the Mercenaries, that says skills used by your traps and mines chain 2 additional times. So anyone that had played Eye of Winter as a self-cast or a miner back in the day will tell you that for clear, well, the skill is, it's okay-ish for clear, is not the best. You can invest into projectile speed to make it better for clear, but for the most part, we used to build this using the snakepit ring. Now the snakepit is not the worst ring you can roll. You get spell damage, but with the things that we can have currently on rings, look at this one for instance, crit multi, good energy shield, added flood damage, increased elemental damage. that opens the spot to use something like the Mark of the Shaper, which has 96% increasable damage and energy shield as well, and some added lightning, which does, you know, something, allows the shock to be a little bit higher, I guess. Losing a ring slot doesn't really feel too good, so that's why I think this modifier solvents that necessity quite very good, in a very good manner. I bought this with spell suppression. This was like 30k or something like that. So this was what sparked the whole idea of playing this skill. The Sandstorm Visage, this combo is very well known to further get, you know, mind skills and in general other casting skills to the crit cap to be able to scale them further. Now this combo, this is an Elder Sherpa ring. This is a very nicely crafted ring, I think, and I'll surely keep this to use in the 1 or 2 more builds that I plan to make for this season. Combined with the Mark of the Shaper, which reads that as long as your other ring is an Elder item, you get 96% increased spell damage. I looked at other options and I don't think I found anything that came that was better. I think a few of them came close to it, but this, for the price, you can get a good, like a max roll one with, if you look at this roll at 80%, you know, 100 chaos. So, you know, it's quite inexpensive. This ring though, this is expensive, but to have it Elder Shaper, because I wanted the added, but you can just get an Elder one, not have the added cold to spells, and just get the crit multi, the energy shield, and maybe use an essence for the extra energy shield, or, you know, craft something else, attributes and stuff. Whatever. These amulets, I bought the cold itself. It isn't too expensive, if I recall. Yeah, maybe like 1 div, you get the base, and then I used the essence to get the maximum energy shields. I rolled the tier 2 ES, and the suffixes, I did a prefixes cannot be changed, used a Veiled Orb, and hit the attributes. I happen to need strength and dexterity on the build. Then I Exalt Slam Caspit, which was insane, and then I just crafted my throw and speed. But this ring I can just use in, again, another build. If I were to make another cold spell skill with you know, self-casted, this will be quite good. And I don't think there are many rings, amulets like this in the market. Not that anyone would be super interested in making them. The shield has spell suppression. I wanted to get some. I'm not quite capped in spell suppression, but I think I got the build to a point where it felt comfortable to boss with, mainly because probably the Mage Blood getting me the extra resistances, getting me the stun immunity, getting me the regeneration, getting me a lot of the spell suppression that I have comes from the Mage Blood, actually. Let's see. Yes, like 20%, 21% comes from the Mage Blood, as well as some of the resistances. But you know, you can get the shield, you can get the gloves. There's an argument to be made to use a hybrid base on the boots, considering the Twilight Regalia has so much ES. This was like 1 divine. I bought it like this with already 1000 energy shield, and I think it didn't came 6 link, but it had 1000 energy shield, which was, I think, what I needed by the time. And I rerolled the prefixes, the suffixes using Eldritch currency, which probably costed me more than what it should have. But you know, the faster start of energy shield rate, the energy shield recharge is good on this build because this isn't a trickster, so we actually need the recharge to start, and I think we have a very short delay at the moment. We have this 63%, which if you look in POB, this is the other character, or is it this one? You look in POB, the recharge modifier is like 1 second, so 1 second delay. You use discipline increases the recharge rate significantly, so and we're using Wicked Ward as well as a layer of defense. And you can pop Bile Discipline, which I didn't even have on the bar, but you can use this as a very good defensive cooldown. You basically start the recharge and it will not be interrupted by damage, which means you recover a lot in a very short span of time. Boots, this is also a very nice craft that I got. I was going for the 100% shock avoidance for the Storm Shroud. Then I hit the 35 movement speed, and I hit then I did suffixes cannot be changed. I think I hit the intelligence as well with the essence. So it was movement speed, intelligence, and then I did suffixes cannot be changed, reforged defense, hit the tier 1 energy shield, which was insane, and then just crafted the remaining ES. So I got a pretty crazy pair of boots. It was a very lucky craft. And then you just X-Arch into 41%, avoid being shocked, and you have 100% here. Pretty good. Mage Blood, but if it weren't for Mage Blood, I would probably just do Stygian Vice with resistances and maximum energy shield, or just the usual the energy shield belt with you can also get shock avoidance on the belt, so you don't have to hit it like this on the boots. You can do the belt plus the jewel, and then that makes the boots much cheaper to obtain. Now on the links, everything will be on the POV, but standard miner, you dedicate 4 links for the mine, throw speed with charge mines. Then Awaken Added Cold is pretty much the best in slot here, and it isn't too crazy at level 6, I would say, for the level of damage that you get out of it. Then the usual Elementalist Golem packages here, Flame Golem, Stone Golem for regen and extra ES, and then Safeguarding for physical mitigation, and Lightning Golem for mana regen mainly, because the cast speed doesn't really do anything for us. But the other option was the Ice Golem, but I don't really need extra critical strike chance, so that's fine. Then in auras, I'm doing Arctic Armor. I'm really keen on the usage of Arctic Armor, because for the most part, right now I have the flasks solving my elemental. I have the physical taken as. I have this. Even with the Shaper of Lanes, physical still remains one of the hardest things for you to deal with. So I think Arctic Armor really makes it nice for you to use. And then Grace, because we're doing Ghost Dance, and Discipline. So you can see I don't even have damage auras. I could use Skitterbots here, get a little bit more damage. I could use Herald of Ice. Zealotry is provided by the Mercenary, so that's out of the questions, and Hatred doesn't really scale anymore with cold spells, only with physical ones. So the option is basically Zealotry, which we already have, and Skitterbots. But I figured 10% damage from Skitterbots versus a little bit more defense. I wanted to get a little bit chunkier on this character, but if you do Skitterbots, you will deal more damage naturally. And then the Sniper's Mark, which you would use in any projectile build. And then the tech here that I'm doing is I'm using both Hydrosphere and Tornado. Reason being is Hydrosphere has like a 1 second cooldown on being hit, but it remains in position. The Tornado has a very short duration, so even if Tornado, I don't think has okay, it can take up to 20 hits, so Tornado can take up to 20 hits, but the duration is 1.5 seconds, so it's very short-lived, and you have to, it will kind of keep resummoning Tornado, but the Hydrosphere will be there, so every 1 second, one of the projectiles is going to chain off Hydrosphere to the enemy, so I have 2 instances of objects that can chain into the enemy for, extra damage with the skill. and this also is applying Bone Chill for increased damage taken, and this is one of my sources as well of because I don't know if it says all damage can ignite, all damage can chill. It doesn't say you, so I assume that this works with the mines, but just in case it doesn't, and just in case Sadis doesn't work, because Sadis says if you've chilled, and you, this part of Sadis says you, so this I'm pretty sure doesn't work with mines, but because we're using both Hydrosphere and Tornado to hit the enemies, we are obtaining the bonus from Sadist. So let's get into the tree. Zealot's Oath to not waste the regen from the Stone Golem, and also the Bottle Faith. You know, it's quite a bit of life regen, ES regen actually. Then the cluster is Blanketed Snow with Sadis. This is a very expensive cluster. You can get either or. Sadis is a lot of damage, same with Blanketed Snow, so just get either. I think any of them will be good. Then as an Elementalist, we really want the effect of elements, so I'm getting Cold Conduction with Astonishing Affliction. So Cold Conduction increases the effect of Chill and Shock, which, you know, it's the driver of our defenses and damage. And then I'm doing again Astonishing for effect. Then here we have the Storm Shroud, and here we have Enduring Composure for Endurance Charge creation. Then Guerrilla Tactics Surprise Sabotage, standard for any mine build to use these two cluster nodes. Same thing here, we're using this. And here I'm doing Eye to Eye, because unlike the regular Eye of Winter, we're trying to place the mines on top of the enemies for them, because Transience doesn't create shards when it ends, it only creates shards during flight. So there's no point on you. Yeah, you will lose the and also the multiplier. This one gets a 200% multiplier when they dissipate. This only gets 15%, which means it's my impression that this skill wants you to play like a point blank playstyle, instead of like the Eye of Winter, where you have to position yourself perfectly between yourself and the target to get the most amount of hits. So for this one, I think Eye to Eye goes very well, because it's a very, very large amount of projectile damage. So 35 plus how much is that? 50 is 60% projectile damage. And then Streamline for a little bit of proj speed, just for the feel goodness of the build. Then I'm doing Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame, Shaper of Winter. This is cheap. I think this is rather cheap. So 4 divines among both of them. And then another Sadis with Blast Freeze. Blast Freeze is helping a lot when I've been doing a lot of delve with this character, and basically I don't get hit at all during delve, because the enemies don't really get a chance to move. They just die with the freeze proliferation. It's very nice, very good feeling. And then the pathing, you know, quite standard at this point with the Elementalist, getting effect of shock, getting golem buff, and this is an energy shield tree, so we're grabbing as much ES as I can on the road. Then I'm grabbing Ghost Dance because I'm running Grace, and this node to get an extra bit of evasion out of our intelligence. And then I'm doing Rational Doctrine. This one might not be worth. You probably get more out of like a crit multi Joel with maximum ES, because you can get cold crit multi and global crit multi, so you can get like 30% from a Joel slot here. Is very efficient with a cold skill, with an elemental skill. But I wanted to play around with this mainly because of the trying to get the Consecrated Ground to stick a little bit outside. So if you look at the Bottle Fate, when the duration ends, I still have the life regen of the Bottle Fate, so this allowed for a little bit higher uptime. And I'm creating the Profane Ground, which makes enemies take increased effect of curses, so that applies to both Sniper's Mark and my and my the frostbite from my mercenary. So it's quite good. Frenzy is very good because we're using charge mines, so the throw speed is really increased by this. So that's why I'm grabbing Fervor here as well. And more damage, more throw speed is very efficient. And yeah, I tried to path as well as I could. I tried to the tree go to the points where I needed to be. So, but there's always improvement to be made. With the ascendancy, again, I'm grabbing Shaper of Winter, so I'm grabbing Leech, Storms, and then Mastermind. These 25% exposure, which we're getting from the gloves, additional 25% less resistances to the enemies, is very, very good, because we don't have the luxury of Doriani giving the enemies minus 200 resistance. Although you could do that if you just equip the Admiral here and then do a ton of damage, but I wanted to do something different. The Mercenary is pretty much the same as the Forbidden Rite character. If you haven't seen that video, it's just a Zealotry one with ideally you have Battle Mage's Cry here for base crit, and then I decided to add the tech of the Dark Murder to stop the Mercenary from summoning minions, because they got me killed in Uber Shaper. So now I'm enemy of those minions. Garb of the Ephemeral, very good defensive. Secrets of Suffering doesn't work with the Mercenary, by the way, so just use a regular scepter with regular scepter or wand with increased effect of the aura you want, either Rat, Zealotry, and then you can get a curse on hit. If it's a wand, you can get a curse on hit instead of the ring, and then you can use the ring for something else. Like I will do Polaric Devastation here for the frost, and the rest, the rest is resistance. The Defiance make them very, very tanky, and the Influence gives them 14% increased effect of auras. So he has a very chunky Zealotry. It's speculated that they have like 3 auras. They have like a level 15, a level 20, and a level 25, depending on the level. And I think level 83 has level 25. And with the increased effect of auras, is very, very strong. It's a lot of damage that you get out of it. So yeah, that's all for the character. Pros and cons, I think. So the clear is kind of abysmal, so they don't even try to do breach with this character. The single target is decent. It's nothing to write home about. There are stronger builds there for bossing. There are stronger builds there for clearing. But if you like the skill, I think this is a good alternative to play it. And if you really want to, you can probably push a character like this even further beyond. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and POB will be in the description below, and see you next time. Bye.